Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. What's going on, guys? Judge Strategic is in court. I thought that one was going to hit a little bit more. Judge Strategic. And then when it came out my lips, it was like, yo, this is weak, bro. That ain't it, man. That ain't it. Guys, welcome to another edition of True Crime Strategic. I appreciate you guys immensely. Boy, I had a long day. I had a long, stressful, crazy day. But like I told you folks before, hanging out with you guys makes me happy. So, in the spirit of wanting to be happy, we're going to go through the other people that we did not react to when we reacted to, what was her name? Detective Tagler yesterday. And I think that was a really good show. We got a lot of good feedback from that show. A lot of people think Detective Tagler is, the hero of the story. Some people like myself think that she's a good law enforcement officer that tried her best, but kind of left a little bit of holes for the defense to punch through. So I definitely want to say one more time that Detective Tagler is a professional and we appreciate her service. We will thank her for her service. But as a fellow professional, I did find some deficiencies in the way that she handled the evidence. Now, did she handle it badly? Did she violate rules or any laws? No. But like I said before, I know some people in the chat like, oh, that best practices stuff is getting tired. Well, that's kind of your opinion. As a professional detective, it never gets old to say best practices because that's what we do. That's what it's called to be professional. You have to have standards and you have to follow those standards, and those standards is what makes you a professional. And so we do have standards by which how we secure evidence and how we get consent from folks. And, listen, just don't cut corners. What was the big deal for Tagler, or forget about Tagler? It's not even her. It's just the Orange County Sheriff's Department, how they do business. What was the big deal with them just asking for a warrant or just writing up their own warrant? They wrote up dozens of other warrants in the case. Why not just write up a warrant for Stephen Stern's cell phone and spare us all of this extra drama? But anyway, we could talk about that on another show. I just wanted to show love to Tagler and say, listen, we don't have a problem with Tagler on this show. We think she's a professional. We think that she's a hero. We thank her for her service. But when you come on True Crime Strategic, you have a professional detective who's going to be evaluating other people. And that's what professionals do. We evaluate each other. It's all good. It's all love. It's never done from a negative space. It's just done to inform you guys of how things are supposed to work. So it's not personal, guys. If I saw Tagler in real life, I'd want to shake her hand and I probably want to get a drink and kind of hear some of her war stories. It's not personal. All right, so that being said, guys, I appreciate you guys for coming through and joining me tonight. I'm not sure if we're going to get through all the material tonight because it is late. So I might have to break this up into a part 2, or maybe a part 3, because I guess Tagler is part 1. This will be part 2. Maybe we might get to a part 3. I don't know. Let's see if we can get through it. I haven't watched these interviews. I kind of skipped through and went straight to Tagler. So I know that Stephen Stern's testimony is not that long. I don't think Hunt's testimony is that long, but I'm not sure about Acosta because I never made it to Acosta. I stopped at Tagler. So if Acosta is on that stand for an hour, then we're definitely going to have to do that another time. If he's on the stand just for a couple of minutes, then we're rocking and rolling. We'll go through and we'll definitely cover Acosta as well. So today our goal is definitely Stearns, definitely Hunt, and hopefully we'll get through Detective Acosta. That being said, before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, we have to say our spiel. We are going to be reacting to and going over courtroom testimony on the Soto and Stephen Stern's trial, right? Everybody's on trial. For real. In this case, everybody's on trial but Maddie, to be honest with you. Right? Jen's on trial. Stephen's on trial. Steph's parents is on trial. Wallace is on trial. Everybody's on trial and me because almost everybody failed Maddie. But anyway, we'll be reacting to that. We will be reacting from an educational perspective. That is our goal, to inform and to educate on this channel, not to entertain. So we are not doing this for entertainment purposes. We're doing it for educational purposes. And what gives me the ability to talk about these topics from an educational point of view is that I am a 18-and-a-half-year veteran of law enforcement, and I've been an investigator for around 14 and a half to 15 of those years. I've been a sex crimes investigator. I'm currently an active duty sex crimes detective that pretty much does the same thing that Tagler does and those other people. And I'm using that knowledge and that years of experience to educate. So that being said, guys, let's get to it. Big shout out to all my members who are in the room. We're going to be using A Obsidian's transcript. She's our resident stenographer now. We appreciate her. It was really cool of her. She emailed me a transcript of what was said because Stephen Stern's audio is horrendous. So we're saying that right now. When you hear the terrible audio, and this was on multiple news channels, I don't know if he was purposely taking the mic like this so nobody can understand what he's saying. I have no clue. I don't know why the judge and the stenographer and the court officers didn't check him. Maybe they could hear him clearly, and it was just his mic that was bad that resulted in the bad audio. But his audio is horrendous. So we have here a transcript of what he said, all right? So let me go ahead and fix my screen here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit that like button, support the channel. And we'll shuffle things around as we go through this, because we definitely want you to see all the players. Let's do it.
On the record, state of Florida, this is Stephen Michael Stearns, 2024 CF602. Appearances for the record, beginning with the state, please.
And Allen William J. for the state. Oh, this is counsel on behalf of Mr. Stearns.
Thank you. Right, the court has three motions before it filed by the defense. The first, in chronological order, is a motion to suppress evidence obtained by unlawful seizure of a cell.
I am like so shocked on how terrible the audio is. It does get better, guys, but you can't go anywhere to find better audio. It's just terrible. It doesn't matter where you get this audio from. It's going to be the same exact thing. So I apologize once again in advance. There's nothing we can do about it.
The second is motion to suppress evidence obtained from unlawful searches of a cell phone. And the third motion, motion to suppress evidence obtained from Google search warrant. Some of the arguments are interlaced amongst themselves. The state of Florida has filed responses to each of the motions. In advance of this hearing, the court was provided with three audio recordings of interviews. The first recording of an audio interview was with Mr. Stearns and Detective Hunt. That was on February 27th at 12:05. Second recording was identified as 24-11313 underscore Stephen, between Mr. Stearns and Detective Tagler and Detective Acosta. Third recording the court reviewed was identified as 24-1313 underscore Stephen number 2. And that was an interview that occurred on February 28th at 12:16 a.m. I have reviewed those recordings in their entirety. I have reviewed the defense's motions. Some of the interrelated arguments are that the seizure of Mr. Stearns' cell phone by law enforcement was initially pursuant to consent, but if that consent is deemed valid, that the scope of the...
Yeah, I just got to say that I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but Stephen Stearns has got to be the most handsome guy I've ever seen in orange. Like that orange really hugs his skin. We should definitely put him in a cell with Bubba. What do you guys think about that?
Consent was exceeded by law enforcement. That consent and subsequent consent were not a knowing, voluntary, or intelligent waiver. of his Fourth Amendment rights. That's either that was by way of coercion or acquiescence to police authority or impairment by lack of sleep or ingestion of a sleep aid, and that no exigent circumstances existed to vitiate the need to secure a warrant prior to the seizure. Second motion deals with a request to exclude evidence pursuant to the exclusionary rule.
Wait, do we have to listen to all this? He's kind of just like reading out the motions. Like, you guys have already seen this. I think we just fast forward to when Stepping Stearns, you guys know what I call him, when Stepping Stearns starts to testify. Come on, Judge.
Thank you. The rule of sequestration has been invoked. If you are a potential witness in this case, we're going to ask you to please remain outside of the courtroom. Please do not discuss the facts of the case with anyone, including other potential witnesses. Ms. Smith, whenever you're ready. Mr. Stearns may be questioned from counsel table. We're going to swear in Mr. Stearns.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to enter into this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, can you please state and spell your last name for the record?
Stephen Stearns, S-T-E-R-N-S.
And Mr. Stearns, did you come into contact with law enforcement in January of 2024?
I did.
During your contact with law enforcement, did they seize or take an item from you?
Yes, they did.
What item was that?
That would be my cell phone.
Do you know
Took
what
my
the
cell
was?
phone.
It was a Samsung Galaxy, I believe it was a 24.
And what was your understanding, if any, as to what they were going to do with it?
They were just going to check my Google Maps and check to see if I was logged into Google, and that was it. That was all I agreed to.
All right. First of all, I digress, because you guys know when you're wrong, I say you're wrong. When you don't do nothing wrong, it doesn't matter if you're the most diabolical person on the planet like Stephen Stearns. I'm not going to blame you for something you didn't do. Stephen Stearns is clearly speaking to the mic at a decent distance, much farther away than I speak in the mic. I kiss the mic every time I talk. So it's not his fault. This is an audio issue with the courts and probably the news stations. So really quick, Ms. Smith says, and what was your understanding, if any, as to what they were going to do with it? Stearns replied, they were just going to check my Google Maps and check to see if I was logged into Google, and that was it, and all I agreed to. All right, so let's let him keep going.
Were you shown, or did they have a warrant?
They did not.
No further questions, Judge.
Thank you.
And so were you shown, or did they have a warrant? Stearns responds, they did not. And then the court reporter comes in. Let's go.
Any cross requested?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Pennell?
Can I have just a moment?
Yes.
Your man got the NFL camera back there. Getting the play-by-play.
Mr. Stearns, you briefly discussed having a conversation or being interviewed by Detective Tagler and Detective Acosta on February 27th. Is that correct? Of last year?
That's correct.
And pursuant to the questions you were just asked, you had indicated that you did not consent to the search of your cell phone.
I consented only to them looking at the Google Maps and checking to see if I was logged into Google in the first place.
All right, so I'm going to jump in here so I could give you what he said, because that sounded very jumbled to me. He said, I consented only to them looking at the Google Maps and checking to see if I was logged into Google in the first place. Let's keep going.
Did you have the opportunity to see what law enforcement was doing on your cell phone?
No, as Acosta was still talking to me, Tagler walked away and began searching all the things that I did not consent to.
All right. You guys heard what she said, so we'll just focus on Stearns. He said, no, Agent Acosta was still talking to me. Tagler walked away and began searching nonsense I did not consent to. What is the nonsense? Because I heard him say nonsense, so I know that A Obsidian is correct with this transcript. What does he mean nonsense? What in your phone was nonsense? Was the CSAM that you was producing, with Maddie as your victim, was that the nonsense that you're talking about? Now, guys, she didn't see the CSAM in the phone. What she was looking at was like, oh, his times are not adding up, his location is not adding up, his call history is deleted, it's starting from a certain time, or whatever. That's when she saw that stuff. The CSAM stuff was not discovered by her. It was discovered by the guy in the lab when he started checking the phone. Oh, I'm about to drop my camera. It's an expensive camera, too. Shoot. So, what does he mean by nonsense? It just didn't make sense how he played that, how he said that. She went off to the side and started searching nonsense in my phone. Then that means that you own the nonsense and you're the one who was holding on to that nonsense for her to search the nonsense. Whatever. Maybe I'm looking too deeply into this. Let's keep going.
Isn't it true that she actually handed your phone back to you?
Briefly, when she told me to input my PIN because it had locked itself.
Oh, Lordy, that's terrible audio. So she said, you hand the phone back to you. He says, briefly, once she told me to input my PIN because it had locked itself. Let's keep going.
And Detective Tagler actually mentioned looking at your history, which you okayed, correct?
Okay, outside the scope.
Your Honor, can we approach?
Yeah, come on up.
I wish I could hear them arguing in the sidebar as to why this would be outside of the scope when it is a suppression hearing for the cell phone. Oh, because it's all about not looking at the specific parts of the phone. It's all about the seizure of the phone. That's why it's outside of the scope. So what the defense is saying is you can't ask him a question about this specific search because we're not talking about that right now. Right now, we're talking about her taking his phone, not the things that she searched in the phone. And that's why she said, objection, this is outside of the scope, because even though they're related, that's not what they're talking about right now. Let's keep going. Go fast forward. Oh, Lord.
The cell phone in question was in fact your cell phone.
Yes, it was.
I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Any redirect? Thank you. Argument, state. Court's going to find that there has been record evidence to establish that Mr. Stern was the person that was affected by an alleged violation of his Fourth Amendment rights, that the property alleged in that violation was admitted to be his, and I'm going to find that the burden has indeed shifted to the state regarding the defense's motion to suppress evidence obtained from the unlawful seizure and search of the cell phone. So
basically what the judge just said is that there is merit to basically the state explaining themselves. It's basically what the judge just said. He said, all right, you know what? They've established a bare minimum that you guys have to now prove that you didn't violate his rights. If it was bullcrap, the judge could have just been like, nah, this is bullcrap. It's over. I'm ruling against it right then and there. But it's not what the judge did. The judge said, I found so far that there's a bare minimum that we need to further dive into this and you guys need to present a case. Now, I'm not saying that means that Stephen Stern is going to win. I'm just saying, as I told you guys before, that these are may not be winnable motions, and we certainly don't want the cell phone thrown out. We don't want Stephen Stearns to get any W's in this case, but they were good motions. They were motions that were actually filed in good faith when it comes to the legality of it all. All right, let's keep going.
State, do you anticipate presenting witnesses or evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'm going to call your first witness.
The state will call Detective Francis Hunt.
All right, Francis Hunt, let's see what you got. Rocky. Is that Rocky? I like this hair. Strategic, yay. I'm a rock star, baby. Yay. Judge Strategic, let's do it. I'm over having a great time. Too much fun. Too much fun. Let's do it, buddy.
About a year and a half.
Go back.
February of 20. How are you employed?
I'm a detective with the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
What was your assignment with the Orange County Sheriff's Office in February of 2024?
I was and am currently assigned to the domestic crime squad.
How long have you been assigned to that particular squad?
About a year and a half.
How long have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
About 5 years.
Were you assigned to the investigation into Madeline Soto, who was reported missing?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have the opportunity to come into contact with somebody identified as Stephen Stearns?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you have contact with Mr. Stearns?
The morning of February 26th, 2024.
February 26th, the Monday, or February 27th, the Tuesday?
I believe it was the Monday, it was actually the Tuesday morning, I'm sorry.
Tuesday. At the time that you had contact with Mr. Stearns, had the Orange County Sheriff's Office already been investigating the disappearance of 13-year-old Madeline Soto?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have contact with Mr. Stearns and conduct an interview about 12 in the afternoon on February?
All right, the wig got to come off, guys. Aki hates when I take the wig off because she's like, you got to keep the wig on. They love the wig. I love the wig too, but after a while it gets too hot. I got these two towering lights just blazing on me. So we've had enough of the wig. We're going to take the wig off. We're going to get into this.
February 27th of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you describe Mr. Stearns' demeanor during your encounter with him?
Nothing particularly notable. He seemed to have, I think he had just woken up about an hour before I made contact with him. He was an average demeanor, nothing particularly notable about it.
Was he cooperative with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he able to speak coherently to you and answer questions appropriately?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he seem to have any difficulty understanding the conversation that you guys were having?
Not at all.
Was this interaction that you had with Mr. Stearns audio recorded?
It was.
Where were you at when you had this interaction with him?
I was at his home or at Jennifer Soto's home in Kissimmee. We were in my vehicle.
Was this located at 4012 Santa Maria Drive in
That's it.
Kissimmee? And was anybody else present during your conversation?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, I would like to approach the witness with state's name for identification. Did you have an opportunity to listen to the recording on state's A for identification?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it a fair and accurate recording of the conversation that you had with Mr. Stearns on February 27th of 2024 at approximately noon?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will seek to introduce into evidence what's been marked states A for identification and the evidence is states 1.
No objection.
A as an alpha will be received as states 1 for purposes of this hearing.
During your interaction,
Anything probative come out of this one? Let me know in the chat because some of you guys have seen this already. I didn't see this. I'm curious. Does he say anything interesting? Let's keep going.
you had indicated that you believe, well, actually here in court today, you indicated that you believed he woke up about an hour before you had contact with him.
I believe so.
What makes you say that?
I had first completed an interview with Jennifer Soto. I had gone back to my vehicle to make a phone call, and I think Stephen was upstairs in the home while I was interviewing Jennifer. When I had gone back in, he walked back down from upstairs and said that he had recently woken up within the hour.
Can I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Of course.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon.
So just to be clear, when you're doing this interview, you're inside of the house, right?
I was in my vehicle.
Okay. When you first met with Mr. Stearns, you met him inside the house? Then?
In the house, yes, sir.
Okay. And then you took him outside and put him in your vehicle, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you did that, that's when you learned about him being sleepy, it sounds like?
I don't think he was sleepy, but it sounded like he had woken up about an hour prior. Yes.
Okay. Woke up about 11 a.m.? It sounds like he knew he was English, right?
Correct.
At any point, did you ever seek a warrant for any of the cell phones or anything in this case?
Oh, no, sir.
Okay. Did you ever look at a cell phone?
No.
Did you ever ask him about a cell phone?
No.
Why?
Of course. Other questions?
I'd ask why. Like, why? Why didn't you ask about the cell phone? Just curious. I don't know.
No, Your Honor.
Detective Hunt, step down.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is he excused from subpoena for today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Detective.
All right, so we got nothing out of Hunt. So now the next person that comes up is Tagler. We're going to skip over that because we did Tagler yesterday, and she got destroyed on the stand. And people were like, oh, I don't think she got destroyed. Listen, am I saying that, she was a mess on the stand or, she didn't have good composure? No, what I'm saying is that the defense got her to admit, they literally got her to admit that she did not have permission to look at 90% of the things that she looked at. And these things, she looked at them before she asked for consent to search the phone. So people don't understand, all of these different things are looked at in a vacuum, right? So let's say you violate the person's rights and you look at things that you're not supposed to look, and then you ask them later if you could look and they say yes. It doesn't negate the fact that you violated their rights prior to asking them for permission. You understand? Like if I just come knock down your door, no search warrant, kick it off the hinges, it's broken now, it needs like $250 worth of repairs, and I just start going through your house, rummaging through all your stuff, and I say, hey, by the way, do I have permission to search your entire house? And you're like, okay, I guess. I still violate your rights. I came in there and I tore everything up without permission. You can't do that. Now, could I win at the end? Maybe, because you ended up giving me consent. Maybe it forgives what I did, but it's still bad practices. It's not best practices, okay? It's not how we do business. We get the search warrant first, and then we go into the house, and then we take whatever it is that we have permission to take that's on the search warrant. You guys understand that as well, right? That let's say I get a search warrant to come into your house and search your house. You understand that I'm not ever going to get a blanket search warrant to just take anything I want. You understand? The judge is going to give me scope for that search warrant. The judge is going to say, well, what is your case about? Well, it's about drugs, right? So what are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for drug paraphernalia and anything that might be related to that. So the judge might say, well, I'm giving you permission to take all the drugs that you find, all the scales that you find, all the cutting materials and bagging materials and all the stuff that goes with the drug trade. But they won't allow me to just be taking your family album and pictures and throwing them inside of a bag and carting them away. They won't let me go and take your socks. They won't let me take your underwear. They won't let me take your flat screen TV that's bolted to the wall. They won't let me rip that down and take that. I can't, because it's not a part of the search warrant. Doesn't work that way. So you can't just, as law enforcement, we have limitations on what we can and can't do. And those limitations are enshrined in the Constitution. And the way that we get there and we meet those limitations and we respect them is through policy and procedure and best practices. So I get it. People hate the fact that I'm pointing out that these searches weren't exactly the way they should have been done. Yes, they were lawful. I don't believe that she violated his rights in that I think that she asked him and I think he gave consent. I'm just looking at it from a professional's perspective and saying that's not something I would ever do, nor is it anything that any of my colleagues would do, nor any detectives I've ever collaborated with other agencies or the federal government or whoever. I've never seen anybody do it that way. Okay? It's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, and I don't know everything. I just know a lot. No, I'm just joking. So let's skip over this and let's go now to Detective Acosta. Let's see how long he is. So he kind of starts at like 1 minute. And then let's see when he gets off. Oh, he's there for a long time. So he's there for like 20 minutes. 24, 25 minutes he's on the stand. All right, well, let's listen as much as we can because I'm starting to crash already. Now, I do have this on deck, but I'm not supposed to drink these anymore. You guys told me don't drink it anymore. So notice I'm not drinking it. I have it on the side. Trying my best not to tap this, but I am tired. So let's keep going.
Yes, Your Honor, Detective Lewis Acosta.
Yeah, I saw something super funny that kind of threw me for a loop. I'm gonna go back and show you. I'm gonna go back and show you. Here you go. Watch this. My imagination went wild. I'm gonna tell you why my imagination went wild right now. It's hilarious. All right, you see that right there? Down here, you see this kind of like, I don't know if it's words or like a number or something like that. I saw it in my peripheral and my imagination went wild. I was like, oh my God, he's got like a tattoo on his neck over there. He's already become somebody's a biatch. I thought somebody branded him already. Property of Bubba. I'm sorry. I don't know why my imagination just went wild. Like he's got like the tramp stamp on his back. Like that's Bubba's girl right there. Let's keep going. Let's fast forward. Come on, Acosta. Get up there, boy. I have to move over. There we go.
Will you please say your first and last name and spell both for the record?
Louis Acosta, Luisacosta.
How are you employed?
Orange County Sheriff's Office as a detective.
How long have you been with the Sheriff's Office?
5 years.
In February of 2024, what was your assignment?
I was a detective with the Orange County Sheriff's Office Sex Crimes Unit.
How long had you been in that unit at that time?
Approximately 6 months.
Are you still assigned to that unit?
Yes.
He's a rookie.
How did you become involved in the investigation of missing juvenile Madeline Soto?
I was the secondary on-call detective at the time, and I assisted Detective Tagler with the investigation, going over to the...
I see some of you guys in the chat is like falling under his Latin spell. Hello, I am Acosta. Big shout out to the chat. I got to show some love real quick, man. First of all, hit that like button. I haven't asked, and people are not hitting the like. If you don't ask on YouTube, if ye doth now, I'm trying to speak old English, but it's not working. If you don't ask, you don't receive. Doth thou not receiveth, if doth now asketh. So please hit that like button, support the channel. If I don't ask, I will not get. So please do hit that like button. Now, let me give some quick love to people who are showing love to the show. Jamie MP with a $2 super sticker and MG Boots with a $6.99 Canadian donation. It says, isn't there enough evidence on the USB drive that the phone won't matter really? I think there's more than enough evidence on the USB drive, and I also think that there's more than enough evidence on the Google Drive to do whatever you want with Stearns. Basically, everything that was on the phone was on the Google Drive. So you have a mirror. It's almost like you have a backup, right? So I have always been of the opinion that the Google Drive is good. You should be golden on the Google Drive. You should be golden on a thumb drive. You're good there. The only issue I've ever had is how the phone was taken, because there's so many other ways the phone could have been taken that were not used, right? So keep that in mind. This case is never dead. Even if they throw the phone out, this case is still strong. Strong, 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 like a bucket full of nails. It's strong. All right, let's keep going.
Command post. We assisted our missing persons unit at that time.
What information did you learn at the command post?
We learned that Maddie Soto had been missing for a little over 24 hours. She was 13 years old. We knew that the last person who had seen her was Mr. Stearns. Just, that basic information.
Did you also get information regarding LPR tags?
Does that make sense?
On Mr. Stearns' Lincoln?
Yes.
And you also got the timing of those tag reader hits?
Yes.
Did you respond along with Detective Tagler to 4012 Santa Maria Drive in Kissimmee?
Yes.
And did you learn any additional information prior to speaking with Mr. Stearns at that address?
Yes, prior we were briefed of Detective Hunt, who's the initial primary detective assigned, just of additional details. For example, that she...
Somebody asked a good question. If it's in plain sight, aren't you allowed to check it out? The plain sight doctrine is not, you can't use it the way that you're using it. Plain sight doctrine is like you come into a house to help somebody with a medical emergency. And when you bust into the house to help this person, not bust, but you come into the house, you see guns on the table and kilos of cocaine. You did not come there for the purpose of finding drugs. You came there for the purpose of rendering medical aid, but now the drugs and the guns, which are highly illegal things, depending on what state you're in, are in your face. Now you can arrest everybody in that house for those guns and drugs unless somebody stands up and says, this is my drugs and guns. Then that person will be the one that's arrested because the drugs and guns is not being attributed to any one person. So anybody who's in that house or in vicinity of that stuff gets arrested. So there's a big difference in it. Like, it's not plain sight if you're looking at a phone, something that's very personal and private that you have to have permission to look into, that the owner has to give you a code to access it, and they give you specific permissions on where you can and cannot go, or just where they expect you to go. So yes, you can look at my call history. Yes, you can look at my Google Maps. That is giving explicit direction on what the limits of your search are going to be. So plain sight would not count. Now, maybe, because remember, technology is brand new and the courts are still kind of working through how to handle technology. Courts know how to handle guns, how to handle drugs, how to handle these things that have been with us for decades, right? But they're still trying to figure out how to handle technology. I would say that there's a really good argument for plain sight when maybe while you're checking out the history, right? Because you got permission to check the history, somebody hits you up on Telegram with CSAM, and that pops up unbeknownst to you. You didn't click anything. It's just a notification, and it pops up, and you see the CSAM in your face. I think that might fall under plain sight. I think like when the courts, like, I don't know of any court cases where they've had that. I'm pretty sure they probably have already, but not knowing what the ruling was in the real world, I would say my common sense would tell me that if you're arguing seeing that type of evidence, that would probably qualify for plain sight because you weren't looking for those pictures. You were in a place that you were supposed to be, and it just popped up in your face. So it's an interesting legal question to talk about, but it definitely does not fall under the traditional definition of plain sight. All right, let's keep going.
Slept in the same bed as Mr. Stearns, things like that.
Did you assist in the interview of Mr. Stearns that was conducted by Detective Tagler at approximately 7:16 in the evening?
Yes.
And this would be on February 27th of 2024?
Yes, correct.
Where did this interview take place?
It took place in the parking lot of their of the apartment complex near the residence, Maddie's residence.
Who was in the immediate vicinity as this interview was being conducted?
It was Mr. Stearns, myself, and Detective Tagler in the immediate vicinity.
Where would you say the next closest law enforcement official was?
at least 25 yards away.
That's
Were
far.
all of the law enforcement officials within view of where
25 yards is very, very, very far.
you were?
The ones that were in the parking lot could see the general vicinity that we were at.
How many law enforcement officials would you say were in the parking lot area where the interview was conducted?
Maybe 10, fewer than 10.
And were these law enforcement officers engaged in tasks, sitting in vehicle, like what was going on?
Yes, just kind of setting up a perimeter around the area, making sure media didn't get too close, just kind of standing by for tasks.
Scene security?
Scene security.
Did any of these other law enforcement officials have contact besides you, Detective Tagler, and Detective Hunt earlier in the day with Mr. Stearns while you were there?
While we were there? No.
Where were you and Detective Tagler and the defendant standing during this encounter?
We were behind the trunk of a vehicle. I can't recall the specific vehicle.
Was Mr. Stearns' ability to move about freely inhibited by either of you?
It was not.
How about any other law enforcement officer that was there?
No.
Were there any law enforcement vehicles prohibiting other vehicles from leaving the area or anything like that?
No.
What was Mr. Stearns' demeanor during your encounter with him?
Kind of very just matter of fact.
Would you classify his conversation with you as cooperative?
Yes.
What were you and Detective Tagler wearing? Not obviously specifics of what you were wearing, but were you in plain clothes?
We were, yes, plain clothes.
All right, big shout out to Orange Rose, $9.99 super chat says, I always thought that X Crimes was involved because they knew about the CSAM or were just downplaying it and lying to Jen. Sounds like it is the policy there. Do you have any insight, SC? I'm not sure that they knew from the jump. They were involved because, as they explained, they handle X Crimes and missing persons. A lot of special victims divisions have dual roles. It all depends on the size of the agency, the amount of resources that they have, and the amount of the size of the population that they're policing. So this particular agency, their X Crimes does not just X Crimes, but they also do missing persons, and that's why they were involved, right? So I think that, I mean, the record shows when they found the CSAM. The CSAM was found after the phone was seized and it was taken to the lab. That's when they found the CSAM. They did not find the CSAM when Stephen Stearns handed the phone over in the parking lot. So I will say that I believe the narrative that we've had this entire time, that they found out when the phone was taken to the lab. Let's keep going. A good question.
Did either of you ever remove your firearms from their holsters?
No.
Did either of you remove any handcuffs, taser, any type of weapon?
No.
Were there any threats of arrest made?
No.
Was Mr. Stearns free to leave?
Yes.
Did Mr. Stearns, based upon your encounter with him, seem to respond appropriately to questions asked?
In what way?
If you asked a question, did Mr. Stearns respond in a way that was coherent?
Yes.
Did you have any difficulty communicating with Mr. Stearns?
No.
Did Mr. Stearns fall asleep or ask to be excused from the interview?
No.
At some
All
point,
right, this is dry. It's why I hate trials, like watching them. You know, so we don't really do that here on this show. Well, most of the time I'm working, so I'm not around when the trials are actually streaming for me to do my own live stream. But I find trials so boring at times. When you force me to watch them, I enjoy them because I like the legality of it all, but they're so dry, right? So here's a question that I want to answer. Gray Moon says, does probable cause not override the requirement for lawful consent to access his phone prior to securing a search warrant? So no, probable cause does not negate a warrant. What you're conflating is probable cause and an exigent circumstance. So if you have probable cause and an exigent circumstance, you could do limited searches. If you can articulate that somebody's in imminent danger and the information that you need to find this person or to help this person is stored in the place that you're searching. So for instance, if you think that somebody is being held captive in a home and you hear them screaming, help, help, I'm in here, then you have probable cause to break that door down, and it's an exigent circumstance where you can now go in without a warrant and go save that person. Or there's another one, the hot pursuit doctrine, which means that you're chasing after a suspect. You're just a few lengths behind him. You can't be 2 blocks away. You can't be 500 yards away, but you're chasing him. It's hot pursuit. He's just a couple feet, couple yards ahead of you, and he gets into his house and he closes the door. If you continue that pursuit, and you start kicking that door to break that door down, you can lawfully break that door down and go into that house and grab that subject. What you can't do is stop pursuing him, decide not to kick that door down, and just hang out and then wait a couple of minutes and then decide, hey, now I'm going to kick the door down. You can't do that. It has to be continuous, because you waiting a couple minutes shows that it was not a hot pursuit, that you really didn't need that person as much as you needed them, because if you needed them as much as you needed them, you wouldn't have stopped trying to get him, right? So the issue here is that when Tagler was questioned yesterday, right? Remember, I'm listening to this from a law enforcement legal perspective. I'm not listening to this because in a way like I just want justice for Maddie and I'm going to ignore all the red flags that I hear because it's all about justice for Maddie. It is all about justice for Maddie, but this is what I do for a living, so I'm going to look at the technical aspect of it as well. During her testimony yesterday, they asked her, well, what did you do with the phone? Why didn't you get a warrant for it? And this is after she had taken the phone. She was like, well, we didn't really know what we were working with yet. In law, you have to articulate yourself. Otherwise, nobody knows what you're thinking. It's all the whole legal process is all down to your mens rea, your state of mind and the evidence. It's not everything, but they play major roles. The evidence and the state of mind. What are you thinking? Why did you do what you did? Right? So we always ask about, like, what's your motive and stuff like that. Your mens rea, your state of mind, right? She told us at that moment that she didn't know what she really had. Even though if you look at the totality of what she had, she certainly had probable cause to take that phone. Absolutely. I mean, he was the last person to be seen with the little girl, so you already got reasonable suspicion there. And then with all the different things that he was saying, the different stories he was saying, all the lies he was saying, he said he was here, but the LPR showed that he was there instead. That made he committed a crime. He's lying to police. You now have probable cause. If she would have articulated that, then it would have basically covered the fact that she didn't get a warrant, because she's articulating that the phone was seized due to the probable cause of the fact that he gave us all these different red flags that showed that, you know what, he's a suspect and there's evidence in that phone, but she didn't articulate that. She said on the stand, under oath, under questioning by the defense, that, well, we really didn't know what we were working with at that time. That's why. That is not the correct answer for her to have given. And that answer basically says, well, at least at that time, you didn't believe you had probable cause, yet you still took his phone. Let's keep going.
Detective Tagler asked Mr. Stearns to look at his cell phone.
Yes.
Do you recall where the cell phone was during this initial interaction?
When she asked to view his phone, he said yes, and it was within eyesight of him. We were right next to him.
Who had the phone when Detective Tagler asked to look at some of the stuff on the phone?
Mr. Stearns had the phone, and then he gave the phone to Detective Tagler after she asked, and he said yes.
Did Mr. Stearns have to do anything to the phone prior to giving it to Detective Tagler?
He input his passcode to get it.
Does that make sense?
Where was the defendant and Detective Tagler standing while Detective Tagler was viewing the content of the cell phone?
They were standing shoulder to shoulder next to each other.
Were you asking questions at that point?
Yes.
Were you able to see the content of Mr. Stearns' phone?
At some point.
Were you standing next to where Detective Tagler and Mr. Stearns were standing, or somewhere else?
Yes, next to both of them.
Let me make a quick point. So I'd see Aki telling somebody that I'm wearing a judge's wig, which I am. But a lot of people don't know how the criminal justice system works. And oh, hold on, let me move it over. Oh, there we go. It's like automatic tracking, but we're still working on it. I'll fix myself right now so you guys can see me better. There we go. A lot of people don't know how the criminal justice system works around the world. Do you guys know that this is standard apparel for most justice systems around this world? Most justice systems around in England, in Africa, in parts of Asia, judges and sometimes attorneys wear these wigs. So it's a prop for me and it's a joke. It's our little joke on True Crime and Strategic. But for a lot of people who watch the show, this is like, oh, Strategic is paying homage to our justice system. That's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to be funny and have a good time. But this is not like something outlandish. This may be weird and different for Americans, but if you go anywhere else, I think they wear these in Canada too. Don't quote me on that. I know for sure the UK and other places. But if you leave the confines of these great 50 United States of America, this beautiful land of milk and honey, I love this country. This is what people wear. So just keep that in mind. You know, little civic and world history for you. Let's keep going.
Was Mr. Stearns facing the general area of where his cell phone was being displayed from?
Yes.
There is a point in the interview where Detective Tagler steps away. Prior to stepping away, what is done with the cell phone?
She gives the cell phone back to Mr. Stearns.
Do you continue to have a conversation with Mr. Stearns?
Yes.
At any point in time, does Mr. Stearns discuss the content of the cell phone or Detective Tagler's looking through the phone?
No, I don't.
At some point, does Detective Tagler come back?
Yes.
And is the cell phone brought out again?
Yes.
At this point, who had the cell phone?
Still Mr. Stearns.
When Detective Tagler asked for Mr. Stearns to unlock the cell phone again, does he do so?
Yes.
Does he have to enter the passcode again?
Yes.
Are the circumstances surrounding this interaction the same as what you described previously as far as location and people involved, the defendant's ability to leave?
Yes.
At the time that interview concludes, Detective Tagler keeps Mr. Stearns' cell phone, correct?
Yes.
What information did you have together about the Madeline Soto investigation?
So aside from what we had before, that she had been missing for over 24 hours, he was the last person to see her. There were many inconsistencies surrounding the time frame that he stated. He dropped her off and other things. And then the tag readers and information that we had about his movement.
So Acosta's doing a good job. He's saying what I just told you guys. He's actually laying out that probable cause. He's laying out why Stearns was a suspect and his phone should have been taken. So great job on Acosta. Once again, I mean, Tagler may have been nervous or whatever. I don't know, but certainly he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Had the defendant been straightforward with you and Detective Tagler regarding his movements?
Before he continues, the funny thing is, Aki said that that she was a senior detective, and I don't know if you guys remember, but when we first did a reaction to her interviews, I was asking if she was the rookie. I really didn't get those vibes from her when I heard her, the way she was questioning, the subjects, and she would always reassure them with.
Does that make sense?
Every single time after over explaining, like when she over explained about how when they were going to do the search warrant and Jen couldn't go back into the house, and she over explained how they're searching and a night crew is coming and they're going to be done at 4:45 a.m. and another team is going to come in and they're going to look and they're going to do this and they're going to have lunch at 5 p.m. And then she says,
does that make sense?
And then they're going to look for this and that. And the drug team is coming too, because they want to help out too, because everybody, it was like, what is happening
does that
here?
Make sense?
What is happening? I was like, what? She got to be a rookie or something. I was wrong. She's actually the senior detective that was out there, and there were multiple detectives and none of them had more time than her. She was it. She was the point person, and that just...
Does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense to me. Let's keep going.
No.
I should be more clear. His movements the morning of February 26, 2024.
He told us certain movements that didn't correlate to the information that we had.
Did you confirm with the defendant that he regularly used his cell phone to get places, look up addresses, get store hours, directions, things like that?
Yes, I believe that was brought up.
Were you aware that there was very limited location data and mapping location data that was in his phone when Detective Tagler checked that?
Yes.
Were you aware also of information that was located in Madeline Soto's cell phone as far as communications between her and the defendant?
Yes.
What information did you have about that?
They communicated extensively, including very late at night.
Were you also present with Detective Tagler at the conclusion of this interview between the second interview that was conducted at 12:15 a.m.?
Yes.
What were you guys doing in that interim time?
So in the interim, we were reviewing surveillance video from the apartment complex to corroborate the times that he came back into the apartment complex.
So Calissa Katz says that Tagler really didn't do well in interrogation on Sarah Boone either. I heard a lot of people say the opposite, that she was really good on Sarah Boone. She says she was antagonistic, which some people thought was funny because Sarah Boone is awful, but not the most professional way to interview. I would love to react to that one, but I'm always cognizant on not being mean to people. I could be, it's one thing with being sarcastic and funny. It's another thing with being mean. I don't want to react to her interrogation with Sarah Boone and then it's like I'm just picking on Tagler, and I don't want to do that. I might watch it and be like, yo, she did an amazing job, but I also might watch it and say no. So I'm curious, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. But if I do it, I'll do it for the members only. So, and the Patreon. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I'm feeling bad.
Did you learn any new information when you did that?
Yes. One of the surveillance videos that we saw It appeared that there was somebody either asleep, passed out, or not awake on the inside the vehicle.
Aki said we got to analyze that.
What exactly did you have information as to the last clothing items that Madeline Soto was reported to wear?
Yes.
Was the individual in the driver's seat or passenger seat is what you just described?
Yes, wearing the same.
Were they in the driver's seat or passenger seat?
Passenger seat, front passenger seat.
What about their appearance makes you believe that they were not awake?
Slumped over, kind of leaning back.
Good night, Gray Moon.
Just did not appear to be awake.
And you observed this video between the first and second interviews.
Correct.
And the individual that you
Time
just
is it?
described, was that consistent?
11. We're gonna have to speed this up. We can't be here all day listening to this stuff. So where we at? We're at 1:15:20. I want to wait. Okay, so here comes Cross. Let's do Cross.
In any way?
Yes, it's placed on airplane mode.
Why?
To prevent it from being remotely reset or.
Here we go.
Good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon.
So the interactions between you and Stephen Stearns, that was audio recorded, right?
Yes.
Not video recorded?
No.
Okay. And it's my understanding that you have an agency-issued cell phone, right?
Yes.
And that has the ability to document photos as well as videos?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do any of that documentation, the photos and videos, while you were speaking with Mr. Stearns?
I did not.
Okay. When you said you arrived on scene, you said there was about 10 other either deputies or officers on scene?
Roughly spread around the parking lot area.
Okay. And you said that they were securing a perimeter, right?
Correct.
Making sure that media wasn't coming in and out of the apartment complex, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that means that there were going to be officers at the main entrance area of the complex?
Yes.
Okay. And they would have been staying right there the entire time, making sure who's coming and going, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then at this point, it sounds like the apartment was getting secured to search it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So does that mean putting up crime scene tape and everything?
I can't recall about the time of the interviews at crime scene up.
Okay. Some point it got crime scene tape. Though.
Yes.
Okay. And when you say that the officers, deputies, whatever, were in the parking lot, were they just clumped up in one group together or across the entire parking lot?
So some of the detectives were kind of in one group, and then uniform patrol were kind of in the perimeter for scene security.
Claire with a 199 super sticker says, do you think she's a detective due to defunding? I'm not gonna disrespect her like that and say like she's some type of defunding hire or whatever, No, I don't know her, and I'm pretty sure she has earned her position. I mean, she has more time than those other guys. Like, she has 9 years on the force, and that's a decent amount of time for her to become an investigator, and know the streets, and then have the opportunity and the honor to become a detective. Those other guys, those dudes were rookies, man. I don't even, did they know some? Were they like the chief's sons, the sheriff's nephews or something? Like, they had barely no time, this guy included. They have no time on the job, and they're already detectives, She actually had a lot of time has a lot of time in the sheriff's department, and is a very experienced officer with 9 years on the force, right? She's almost halfway through her career. So, I mean, I just feel like she just needs some more training. Let's keep going.
Well, Steve asked you if you ever removed your firearm. I just want to clarify. You had your firearm on you, right?
Yes.
And you're in plain clothes at this point, right?
Yes.
So is your firearm just chilling right there on your holster? Or?
Yep. On my hip, yep.
Yeah. So it's visible?
Yes.
And you said that while you're questioning, you and Detective Tagler questioning Mr.
Yo, big shout out to DH for the Cash App. Thank you so much for showing that love to the channel. And I'm sorry, I think I may have missed a super chat. Let me see here. Sorry about that. Oh, no, I already read the super chat. I definitely read it. Clear super chat. I think we have a little bit of a delay on my end, but I did read it out. Let's keep going. And generic white female, I think, is her screen name. I didn't write it. That's what she wrote. She said, one gift membership. Thank you so much. There's nothing generic about you, white female. You are special in the eyes of the Lord. Okay. She gave a second one gift membership. So that's cool. Thank you so much. And yeah, we already addressed Clear's very generous super chat. Let's keep going.
Stearns, you're both standing by a vehicle, right?
Yes.
I don't know whose it is, but it was a vehicle, right?
Yes.
Okay. And at this point, Tagler's questioning him, you're questioning him, he's in the middle of you two, right?
I can't recall where he was between both of us.
Okay. But you're all towards, it sounds like the back of the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And you had stated that while Tagler's taking a look at the phone, you're close enough to see the phone, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you can actually see what's happening on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not like when we're saying that you're standing around the vehicle, somebody's over by the front of the car over here and somebody's all the way at the trunk of the car over here. You're all grouped up together, right?
Correct.
Now, it was during that first interview that you learned that the phone was factory reset somehow, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when y'all were leaving the scene, it sounds like Tagler gave you the phone?
She gave it to Mr. Stearns.
Okay. At the entirety of both first interview, second interview, everything, when you're taking the phone to the sheriff's
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Gotcha. So you had the phone at this point?
Yes.
Before you had come into possession of the phone to take it back to the sheriff's office, it sounds like it was in Tagler's car?
I'm not sure where it was.
But between the first interview and the second interview,
I'm laughing because the chat is filled with a whole bunch of naughty ladies, yo. I swear. I got the naughtiest ladies on my channel. Miss T says, if he's DEI, then it stands for dreamy every inch. Get a room, Miss T. Let's keep going. This guy's probably married with like 5 kids.
it sounds like there's about maybe a 4-hour gap, right?
Once a lady see you got that law enforcement pension, yeah. They lock you up and they make sure you at least put 5 kids in this world. I'm telling you.
Yes, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. And at that point, you said that you went to the management to kind of take a look at the video surveillance, right?
Yes.
Okay. It'll take you 4 hours to go through all the video surveillance?
Not all just at the video surveillance. We were also debriefing kind of next steps, things like that,
Right.
discussing the case.
So when you're saying debriefing, like, right, just you and Tagler, or are you talking to other people?
Other people, the unit,
Okay, so where does that happen?
in the management area.
Okay. So at that point, while you're debriefing, roughly how many law enforcement personnel are there?
I don't recall the number.
Can you remember anybody that was there off the top of your head? Sure.
Detective Tagler, myself, direct supervisors, so maybe a corporal and a sergeant.
Okay. So at least 2 other people present?
Yes.
And it's at this point, so that's where you all were talking to supervisors, right?
Yes.
And at that point, it sounds like one of the supervisors was like, hey, we need to go get that cell phone, right?
Yeah, I believe it came up during the conversation.
Okay. And then during that conversation, did anybody ever mention, hey, let's get a warrant to download that?
Not to my recollection.
Okay. After you take the phone to the sheriff's office, do you ever interact with the phone again?
No.
Okay, so you just hand it off to the forensics guys, and you're done?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever ask Mr. Stearns if he could download the entirety of his phone?
I did that conversations had with Ms. Detective Tagler.
And did you ever seek a warrant to download the phone?
I did not.
Did you ever attempt to draft a warrant of anything?
I did not.
Brief moment to confirm. Sure.
Think he might be done. Let's see.
Between the first interview and the second interview, you had never,
Done.
neither you nor Tagler ever gave the phone back to Mr. Stearns, right?
Correct.
You held onto it the entire time.
Yes.
No further questions.
They stole his phone.
Did you conduct any interviews?
Hold on here. I dropped my mouse. I got to get it. There we go. All right. Let's do it.
Between the first and second interview with Mr. Stearns?
Yes.
Who else did you interview?
Jennifer Soto.
So that was also during that 4-hour period?
Yes.
No further questions.
Detective, between the first and second interview, around a 4-hour, at the conclusion of the first interview, did you observe anyone direct Mr. Stearns that he could not meet?
No.
And when you returned after 4 hours, Mr. Stearns was where?
He was in the same parking lot area.
Yo, he stayed in the same parking lot for 4 hours. I see where the judge is going with this. The judge is trying to figure out if Stearns felt that he was in custody. I'm not saying that he was. I'm just saying this is why the judge is asking that. The judge is asking, he's trying to figure out if Stearns, not if the police told him he was or thought he was or didn't think he was. He's trying to figure out if Stearns thought that he was in custody, thought if he was free to leave or if he was being detained. It's very interesting.
Follow-up questions, State? Follow-up questions, defense?
During that time span between the two interviews, did anybody tell him that he could leave?
I don't recall that.
That's another huge one. Like I told you guys, you have to tell people about their rights. Just like how you have to give somebody Miranda before you talk to them if they're a suspect. You have to say, hey, listen, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford one will be afforded to you. You have to inform people about their rights. You have to tell them, hey, listen, do I have permission to search your phone? You don't have to give me permission if you don't want to. You have to tell them, hey, you're not being detained. You can leave if you want. We just don't want you to go in the car and we don't want you going to the house. But you're not under arrest. You're not being detained. You go take a walk if you want right now. You can stay right here. You have to tell people so that they don't assume. Because if they assume, that might work against you in law enforcement because you know the law. But the courts don't expect the average layperson to know the law. That's why they hold us to a higher standard. And that's what the judge was asking to try and determine, did Stearns know he was free to go and he was not being detained or in custody? And then because he asked that question, the defense attorney, being smart, stood up with a rebuttal question and doubled down on that same question that the judge asked. The defense attorney piggybacked out off of the judge. He saw where the judge was going with that, and he hammered it home for the judge. I'm not saying it's bad news. I'm just saying these are some good motions, man.
Thanks. May the detective step down?
Yes.
Is he excused from the subpoena? Thank you, Detective.
Thank you.
All right. Acosta did a good job testifying, actually. I think he was very good. I think he was stoic, yes, but he did show expressiveness when he was talking. His answers were clear. Acosta was good. Hunt was good as well. And even Tagler was good. You know, her style is a little bit more demure, a little bit more less emotion. I get it, but it works. Whatever works for you is what you do. Because the opposite is that you melt down on the stand and the defense gets exactly what they're looking for, which is to make you look like a horrible person. That never happened during why did her name just fly out of my brain? During the Tagler's testimony. It never happened during Tagler's testimony that she melted down and, you know, got just bulldozed by the defense. The reason why the title of my video is Tagler was destroyed is because the defense got her to admit, and she just told the truth, but she still admitted that she didn't have permission to look in all the various places that she looked on Stephen Stern's phone. So she didn't melt down. She's professional. She handled herself professionally. She answered the questions truthfully. Kudos to her. Unfortunately, her truth benefited the defense in that they're establishing, at least from their point of view, that Stephen Stearns did not give her consent to search the phone in the ways that she searched the phone. So I'm wondering.
Does that make sense?
Are you sure? Does that
make sense?
To you guys? I hope it does, okay? I appreciate you. All right, we're going to stop that right there, guys, because I got to go to bed. Had a long day today, and I'm probably going to have a long day tomorrow, too. We'll come back, though, because I didn't watch this whole thing, and it's like 3 hours long, which means that they've actually, I think there's a forensic expert or something like that. There's two things I want to get through before the week is up. I want to get through the forensics expert that's going to come up after Acosta, and I also want to go through the new lab report that came out that Plunder dropped on her show a couple days ago. So certainly, if anybody has that lab report, please send it to me so we won't have no watermarks on it. Please do send me the lab report if you were able to get your hands on it. The newest one, please. The newest lab report that was just released. We will appreciate you, and we'll definitely give you a shout out if you want. If you don't, it's cool. We won't. And lastly, we'll go over some of these other things. We got a lot to cover. A lot to cover on this channel. I appreciate you guys immensely. I love the fact that you guys always show up to support me. You guys are amazing. So please hit that like button on your way out the door. Big shout out to all my members and my Patreon. We drop content like every 2 days or so. We drop new content on the Patreon and the members. We love you. We appreciate you. So we take the time to make sure that you are entertained. Are you not entertained? We hope that you're entertained, all right? But also we hope that we're educating you as well. And we hope that as we entertain and we educate, that we are traveling that line where we're still respectful to the material. That's the goal, to give you all three of those things, to respect the material, but to still entertain you and, of course, educate you. So please do let me know if I'm doing my job, but let me know respectfully, please. All right, so I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys be well. Let me set up that outro. Strategic is out of here. Peace.